Moment Quality System is based on principles from ISO 9001 and enables quality assurance directly from your projects, rather than using an external system. This creates a tight, visible connection between the project activities, routines, checklists, and risks. This again lowers the bar for quality management and simplifies the processes for project managers and quality managers alike. To get started, enable the quality system by going to Setup, Settings, General. Then click the Quality System button to enable the module. With the right access level, you'll get a new menu item called Quality after you refresh the page. Routines let you define and document your process inside Moment. Combining rich text formatting, photos, and links, you can create a detailed set of routines that will help clarify company processes for all coworkers. Routines can be used in projects and tasks and are visible in My Pages. Get started by going to Quality, Routines, and create a new routine by clicking the plus New Routine button. Add a title and routine number first. The routine number is auto-generated, but you can also define your own. For ease of use, add tags to your routines so that you can separate them by category later on. If you have defined routines in external systems, you can easily copy-paste any text into the new routine and make necessary adjustments. Routines support rich text formatting, so you can create headers, highlight text, use bullet points, numbered lists, and so on. You can also upload photos from your computer or from a URL. This is perfect for making your content stand out, for example, a flowchart or illustration. Below the content box, you can upload any attachments you want to the routine. You can select whether to include the routine in No Projects, New Projects, or both new and existing projects. When you create a new routine or add a revision to an existing routine, it can be useful to notify your coworkers. You can do this at the bottom of each routine. Click Save, and you'll have a brand new routine ready for use inside projects, checklists, and tasks. All coworkers can view the routine under My Pages, Routines. If you want to edit the routine, simply open it and click the little pencil icon. You can choose to add a revision if the routine has new or updated content. Checklists make it super easy to follow and control any process step by step. You can use checklists to follow regulatory requirements or define your very own checklists for various routines. To verify that a checklist has been followed properly, you can assign control persons. If you're currently using checklists outside of Moment, you can convert them to Moment checklists with our Excel template. Using templates, you'll predefine all steps and add relevant checklists to your projects and tasks. Get started by going to Quality, Checklist Templates, and click the New Checklist button. In the module, name your checklist and add an optional description. Open the checklist and start adding checkpoints. Each checkpoint needs a name, and you can add optional information like ID, reference, and description. Adding separators, you can group your checkpoints and make it easier to use the checklist inside projects. If you want to further enhance your checklist, you can click Edit and connect routines, responsible person, and notes. If your checklist is a work in progress, you can set its status to in progress so that it won't be visible in projects. For ease of use, add tags to your checklist so that you can separate them by category. Should you need to revise your checklist, a revision can be added below the checkpoints. When you want to use the checklist inside a project, go to the Quality tab of the project and click plus New Checklist. You'll see your templates first, but can also create checklists from scratch or use checklists shared by other companies using Moment. Select one or more templates checklist and click Save. You'll now get an overview of the checklist in use in your project and their status. Open the checklist you want to follow. Inside, you'll see all info that you added to the template. If you want to connect the checklist to a specific activity, for example a phase in your project, click the pencil icon in the upper right corner and select the corresponding activity. Here you can also add a control person for controlling the checklist after the responsible person has done their job. The person you assign will automatically receive an email with a link to the checklist. It's also possible to upload attachments directly to the checklist. This could be project documentation, and so forth. Each checkpoint has a column for status, control person, if enabled, comment, and relevancy. The latter is useful for when you have a long checklist where certain checkpoints are not relevant for the project at hand. Now you should be ready to actually follow the checklist. Go through the checklist and tick off all the boxes in the status column where the checkpoint has been executed. The checkbox will receive a green check mark, and you'll see the date of when you ticked the box and the name of whoever ticked it. If necessary, you can add comments to a checkpoint. For example, an explanation of why a certain step in the process has not been completed. Should any nonconformities related to the checklist be discovered, you can add those directly inside the checklist. Going back to the checklist overview, you'll see how many checkpoints have been ticked off and controlled, as well as which parts of the project are connected, who's responsible, and if there's any nonconformities registered. Whenever something doesn't go according to plan in your projects, you should register as a nonconformity. This way, you've documented it thoroughly and can follow it up with a solution. With Moment's quality system, you can easily register nonconformities directly in projects or checklists and define a plan for follow-up. Using follow-up tasks, any solution becomes part of the project's work description and makes it easy for project managers and members. Also, using Moment's nonconformity report, you can easily see all nonconformities across all projects and see if there's a pattern. That way you can make changes to your routines, checklists, and risk assessment and help to avoid such nonconformities in future projects. Nonconformities has its own menu point inside the Quality tab in your projects. Click the plus New Nonconformity button and you'll get a new window where you can specify details. You can decide how detailed you want to be. And if you're in a hurry, just a title is sufficient. If you wish to add more details to the nonconformity, simply click Edit and start adding information to the various boxes. You can, for instance, describe what happened, why it happened, what consequences it could have, and plan for a follow-up. Furthermore, you can connect the nonconformity to an activity, or more specifically to a task, and note who discovered it, who's responsible, and who's closing the nonconformity. Whenever you assign people, they will be notified by email. You can say something about the impact of the nonconformity and classify it using your own set of custom tags. It's also possible to add attachments, such as photos or documentation. Some nonconformities are just documented in the project for future reference. Some you might want to follow up with a specific solution. Here's where adding a follow-up task comes in handy. If you click the plus icon, you can add a follow-up task. Connect the task to an activity, either the original activity or perhaps a separate activity for extra work, if the nonconformity is related to something outside the contract or your control. Give it a title, and choose whether to estimate hours. After you've created the task, you can go ahead and open it to add further information, assign coworkers, and set a due date. You can even use the task to send a confirmation to your customer with the help of Moment's offer module. After you've added nonconformities to your projects, you can get a tidy report on all of them. This is particularly useful for finding recurring nonconformities and help to mitigate them by changing your routines, checklists, and risk assessment. The report can be used by anyone with the right access level and is especially relevant for quality managers and for project managers, since you can filter and group nonconformities by different variables, such as projects, category, who's responsible, and so on. Having a quality system fully integrated in your projects lowers the threshold for quality assurance and helps you deliver higher quality work to your customers. Having clearly defined and easy accessible routines helps your team know exactly how to do their work at any stage of a project. Following checklists, you ensure that every little step is accounted for and that nothing slips between the cracks. Registering nonconformities will help you follow up fast when something doesn't go according to plan, and furthermore, to refine your routines and checklists.